You know, Indigo, one of the things that I'm asked time and time again at fairs is where my gifts come from. How did I get them?
Hmm.
Where do they come from?
Yeah, I'm asked that quite a bit too.
So, what exactly do you tell people?
Well, I tell them they come from spirit. One of the things I say every time I give a reading is that our souls are designed for a specific purpose. And whether you're a healer or a lawyer or a prophet, you do somewhat the same thing every single lifetime. Um, in this lifetime, I'm lucky to be able to use my gifts to help people. But I know in other lifetimes I wasn't so lucky. And I put myself in a body that I wasn't able to access my gifts as easily, or a lifetime that I wasn't able to use them.
Well, you know, I think that every soul takes it's a journey for every soul. Just like learning how to play a musical instrument, you start off as a beginner, and over a successive number of lifetimes, you master that particular instrument, and that becomes a way for you to, if you will, be in service to other souls. But yeah, I tell people the same thing. Like, it comes from spirit, and even though my spirit guides might be there and the client's spirit guides are there, and I'm communicating back and forth, ultimately, it all comes from divine mind. Ultimately, that's where it comes from.
And, I always tell people too that when you're given a gift, you say thank you, whether it be another human being giving you a gift.
Absolutely.
But you also have to do the same thing to spirit, to God, or the source, or whatever it is that you want to call this being entity. But you have to give thanks.
Absolutely, we have to give thanks for that. It's just spirit, and the universe is really no different than a good friend. If a friend comes to you and keeps asking for advice but never follows that advice, after a while you just finally say, there's really no point in me doing this. And the universe is really the same way. The universe, after a while, if you're not grateful for it, the universe backs off. And it's much more difficult then to get the universe to do what you would like the universe to do for you.
Well, and this is two-pronged too, because you have to foster that gift.
Sure.
And so, one of the things I ask my clients all the time is, do you meditate? They ask me, well, I want to be able to grow this gift. I want to get better. I want to have more access. And I say, do you meditate? And they tell me, no. That's the one thing, the number one thing you have to do.
The number one thing, absolutely. I tell all my clients, I ask them the same thing, do you meditate? And I really find it kind of interesting because they'll kind of go, well, kind of. And I go, well, that really means no.
Right.
That means no.
That means no.
And meditation is that bridge. It's that conduit between the physical world and spirit. And we have to foster that. We have to create that doorway. And one of the ways to do that is through meditation. Our gifts are no different than anybody else's, but we are exercising them. We're constantly working at it, especially when we're doing fairs. We're really working that. It's just like a muscle. You gotta, if you want it to be big and strong and do what you want it to do, you've got to exercise it. And so we do the same thing. You got to use those gifts.
And meditation could be as easily as daydreaming.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love daydreaming.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And my body will automatically put me into a daydream mode. I don't have a choice.
Yeah, I slip into daydreaming very, very easily. And an interesting thing, just kind of a side note, just that phase before you go to sleep at night, that in between phase where you kind of have images kind of go through your head. The interesting thing is Thomas Edison was often asked where he got his information, and he would say the same thing. I go and take a nap every day at the same time. And he would put 2 steel ball bearings in his hands, and when he started to slip into that total sleep realm, rather than being that in between. They would fall out of his hands, hit the floor, and he'd wake up and he would write down what he remembered. So again, that going into that altered state is an excellent. It's a beautiful way of developing your abilities.
How do you feel about guided meditations?
Well, I think guided meditation is very, very important, or it has an important function for those individuals who cannot quiet their minds. It gives the conscious mind something to focus on while your subconscious opens up again, and it enables you to create that doorway between the spirit, the world, and the physical world. Very, very important.
Yeah, see, I like guided meditations.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah.
I absolutely love them. I'm one of these people that can't sit still. And
I can sit still, but my brain wanders off. And so I have a hard time meditating. And if somebody's there talking, then I can refocus and get back into that meditation.
Exactly.
I also find it easier to meditate with my eyes open.
Well, isn't that a form of scrying?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. It would be a form of scrying.
It is. But for me, I get more imagery with my eyes open than I do with my eyes closed. Typically when I close my eyes, I don't see anything but blackness. Now, it will come. Those images will come, but it takes a lot longer. Whereas if I open my eyes, especially if I have a solid wall to look at.
Yeah. A blank canvas.
I want a blank canvas. I don't even want something like our background where it's, modeled and colored. I want solid.
And again, that points out to the differences between the individuals. Just like we said in our introductory video, everybody's different, and you have to find your comfort zone in terms of how you want to make your connection with spirit.
Yep, and I know in readings I'll give people some advice on how to meditate. Different ways. Some people like bells, some people like music, some people like the sound of water. And so you have to figure out what it is that you connect with and do that.
And for me personally, the sound of water works. Not so much the sound of ocean waves, but the sound of a stream or a creek or something of this nature. Or something that is kind of a droning noise. That tends to help me get into an altered state. So.
And me, that would drive me crazy. That would drive me insane.
Well,
never be able to.
Again, that's the difference between you and me.
Yep.
But we both achieve the same goal. The same goal. So I tell clients, play around with it. And one of the things that I think is very important when you're wanting to develop your abilities is have fun with it. Don't be so serious with your abilities. Yeah.
That's one thing that I find in this world, that people take these things very seriously. It's like magic. They have these spells and they're so complicated and they're so many ingredients, and it doesn't have to be that, And that's another thing we're going to talk about on this channel quite a bit, is that it is a fun thing. Going back to giving thanks to our spirit and our spirit guides and stuff. But it is supposed to be fun. We're meant to have fun here.
Yeah, definitely. The old masters never encouraged their students to develop their psychic abilities, because too many of them would stop right then and there and say, well, I've learned all I needed to learn. And really, the truth of the matter is, our psychic abilities are just simply gifts that enable us to grow more spiritually.
And as we said before, this never stops.
No,
the learning, the growth is not supposed to stop.
Yeah.
And not even at death. We go into our next life and we do it all over again. And we take, even though we don't remember what we did, we take that information and we bring it into a new life.
Oh, surely. The soul never forgets what it's learned. And I don't know about you, but I know will give readings for people, and they have a loved one who is dying, and they want to know why they're hanging on. And the reality is that they're being taken to the other side to give them an opportunity to see it, to understand what the afterlife is like. And then they're given the opportunity: do you want to stay here, or do you want to go back to your physical world? And many times they will go back to the physical world until there's still something there that either they need to learn or they need to finish up. They're loose ends.
And it could be that they're just not ready to cross because they may not like what's on the other side yet.
They may. That's very possible. It is very possible.
We hang on to our, as you told me before, we hang on to our humanity for a really long time. And
As
so to
long as
make
we
that
can.
break, to go back over can be frightening.
Well, I've always said I'm going kicking and screaming, so I'm not going to go willingly, but I will. But the reality is that some people who, particularly those who don't have a strong concept of an afterlife, they resist it. They resist dying. And but the truth of the matter is that angels will come in and provide them an opportunity to look at the afterlife and get accustomed to it and see what it's like. So it's an interesting journey, and I find that just when I think I know enough, I realize I don't even begin to know enough. There's something more. It's like that carrot that out there in front of that horse. He just keeps taking that one step forward because he thinks, if I get to that carrot, I will have reached my goal.
But don't you think that's spirit pushing you?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Without question. Without question.
Because they know when you're ready for something new and something different and learning a new lesson, bringing something else into your life.
Oh, yeah. Oh, without question. I know my spirit guides. They have a definite sense of humor. And when it's time for me to start learning, or if there's something that they're teaching me and I'm resisting it a little bit, like, oh, that can't possibly work, they'll just kind of look at me and go, okay, it's time for you now to go put it into practice. You prove us wrong.
Right.
And I always come back kind of hanging my head, and they yep, you're right, it does work. And so we go on to the next step.
Yep. Guys, if you like the content, make sure you like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Very important to like and subscribe.
And if you have any comments, anything that you would like to comment about, anything we've said, or your experiences, by all means, please comment, and we will get back with you. And we intend to have one program in which we do nothing but address people's comments. So please, by all means, subscribe and comment. We look forward to it.
We plan on having at least one live event a month. And if it gets to be really popular, we'll have more. And we can go live almost any time. So.
Anytime. Indigo and I, we spend a lot of time going out of traveling to different psychic fairs, metaphysical events in about a 5 or 6 state area. And so you'll be seeing a lot of our live streaming while we're traveling in the car. So
first one is this Friday.
This Friday.
We're headed to Tulsa. Broken Arrow,
suburb of Tulsa. And we'll be at the Spirit Fair at the Stony Creek Hotel and Convention Center. So if you happen to be watching this and you're from the Stony Creek or Tulsa area, by all means, stop in and say hello to us.
Yep, and Cindy Green.
And
She's
Cindy Green.
the fair promoter.
And Cindy Green, yes. We would, we'd love to hear from you.
All right, guys. Well, we're gonna go. We will. What's our next video?
I believe our next video is going to be on psychic attacks and protection.
That's right, psychic attacks and protection. So join us on Friday for that.
Right.
We're going to be discussing that in the car on the way to Oklahoma.
Sounds
All right, see you later,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Take care now.